Welcome to We Love Deck Builders, the podcast dedicated to empowering deck industry pros to construct a thriving business. Join your host, April Edwards, founder of Deck Builder Marketers, as she brings you a cheat sheet of industry secrets and strategies that promise to boost your deck building business. Whether you're a battle-tested pro or just starting your entrepreneurial journey, this podcast is your arsenal for expert insights and actionable advice. So tune in and let's carve a path to business growth, one insight at a time.
All right, welcome back to We Love Deck Builders, the podcast dedicated to helping deck builders grow and manage their business effectively. I'm April Edwards, growth strategist at Deck Builder Marketers, and today we have a really special guest, Jody Underhill. He's a renowned recruitment strategist and CEO of Rapid Hire Pro.com, known for his innovative approaches to hiring in the home services industry. Jody, it's so fantastic to have you with us today. We're really looking forward to learning your secret sauce to recruiting A players.
Cool. I'm happy to be here and looking to, so we're open book. We'll share everything we got.
He's got years of experience, guys, so make sure that you stay tuned. We'll try and do a good job of not talking too much because we're both talkers, but there's a lot of great insights he's going to share. And Jody, I'm really interested in you telling the audience about your background. You've got a lot of extensive background. And just for a little bit more of an introduction, I know Jody from a group that we're in, and I'm going to tell you guys, it is the best coaching group and community that I have ever been in. A lot of our deck builders are in a community called Nadra, and it is also very fantastic. But I cannot stress enough how important it is to be in a community where you support one another and are able to really utilize tips and tricks to make, your lives and businesses more effective and, just continue to hone in on your craft. Jody has actually coached me. He is a client acquisition specialty coach in our group called the Seven Figure Agency. I think I've been there for almost 4 years, I'm going to say now. And it's just been so amazing. And I'm just so grateful for Jody's time because he has no problem sharing his knowledge. And that's what he's going to do today.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your background in internet marketing and how you transitioned to specialize in recruitment.
Sure. So basically, I worked for the power company in Florida for nearly 30 years. And in my mid 40s, I decided that I was tired of that and started a marketing agency. And people ask me, so what does that have to do with the power company? And the answer is absolutely nothing. Because in the power company, you don't have to market to customers. They have no choice. So, so I had to learn some things as I went, but I was fortunate to be able to take what I knew from the power company from implementing processes, and I just followed. Unlike some people who buy products or processes, I actually followed it and became very successful very quickly. I got recognized by some of the biggest names in the industry. I've had the pleasure of being able to be a president of the largest digital marketing company in the world for a couple of years. And then from there, and the whole time, though, working with local businesses. And that has been my specialty the entire time. That's what, as April mentioned with Seven Figure Agency, it's all about local business. It's not about big brands or anything like that. It's about helping local businesses and helping them, because usually it's companies who have customers that are within about a 25 to 30 mile radius is really kind of what it looks like. And so with that, I met my wife along the way. And also I got to befriended a guy named Tommy Mello. And some of you may know who he is. He's a home service expert. He owns a large company called A1 Garage Door. Well, along the way, somebody reached out and said, hey, I've got a problem. Another coaching group that I was part of said, I'm doing recruiting and trucking, and I've sold a whole bunch of contracts, but I'm facing a whole bunch of refunds. Can you help me put a system together? I was like, well, I've got some, I can, we looked at it and I was like, it's really marketing for employees is the same thing as marketing for customers, but you're not doing any nurturing. You're not moving people through a process. Let me see what we can put in place. And we did, and we helped them save the refunds. And I was like, that looks pretty easy. And so let me do that. So I went out, and then in the course of about 8 weeks, I think I landed 12 trucking companies ranging from 50 to over 500 trucks, doing recruiting for that. And during that time, my wife reached out to Tommy Mello, who's a friend, and said, hey, not to sell him anything. Said, if you need people, for your garage door business, you should check out what we're doing in trucking. He's like, yeah, we'll fly out here. So the next week we flew out to Phoenix. In his book, it says he flew to South Carolina, but we actually flew out there. He mentions it in his book, Elevate. We went out, showed him what we're doing, and he's like, yeah, I want you to do this. I'm like, we didn't do this to sell you this. No, but I want you to do it. Well, 3 months later, he started telling everyone about it. That was July of 21, and now it's 24. So it's less than 3 years. And in that time, we've gone from working with one home service company. We don't do trucking anymore. We only work in home services now. From one home service company to now we've worked with over 300 across the US and Canada. We've helped hire over 3,500 people in the last 3 years. So we do things a little bit differently than most do, and we'll get into exactly how that works as we go.
I mean, we got to dissect that for a minute because there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, I think it's so incredible how it's just interesting to learn people's stories and how a lot of times you kind of stumble on it and it's like you kind of found your greatness in a way, just by like trying it out and in realizing, wow, this really works and I can scale this and be able to help a lot more people. Kind of similar with us with deck builder marketers. I mean, everybody always asks why we went with deck builders, and it was kind of the same thing. Like we ended up developing a system that worked really well for them. So props to you for like really owning that and taking it full scale. That's amazing.
Right. And the thing is that people ask me all the time, well, do you do recruiting? And I was like, no, here's the thing. Here's how we define it. If the employees get in a truck and come to your house to do work, we recruit for it. But
Yeah.
but we don't do recruiting in like nursing or that home care, that kind of thing. But it's all home services coming there to work on something at your house, which includes decks and pools and fences and the whole thing. But anything on your house that they work on, we work with just about every industry you can think of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how long have you been doing this?
Less than 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, you guys, listen to this. 3 years. Like it's it's incredible if you're even in business after the first 5 years and you've been able to help so many people. That's amazing.
We've been very blessed. Like I said, we've always had a successful marketing agency, but then when we moved over to this, it just sort of exploded because there's really not many other people doing this. There's software and different systems you can use,
Yeah.
but we have a little bit of a differentiator that is what
Uh-huh.
has been our claim to fame and why people have switched over and started using us instead of a lot of other solutions out there.
All
And
right. Well,
that claim to
good
fame will get
segue.
in.
We want to know that unique process. So,
And so, and anybody can do it. It's not magic. It's just how we do it. It's a little bit magical. So what we do, everybody is posting on Indeed and Simply Hired and ZipRecruiter and that sort of, or even Craigslist. And I talk to people sometimes they're still, I didn't even know Craigslist was still a thing, but it is.
yeah.
Or if you're up in Canada, it's Kijiji, right? And that's where they're going and posting for jobs. The thing is that we hear the same thing over and over and over again. We probably do 12 to 15 new calls with new clients every week. And it's the same thing. We hate Indeed. We get a bunch of applicants, but nobody shows up. Everything's bad. They do find some hires from now and then. It doesn't mean it's all bad.
Yeah.
But what I tell people is, look, the people you want to hire are not standing in the unemployment line.
Yeah.
The people you want to hire are already working somewhere. So
Mhm.
your job is just like sometimes with marketing is to
Yeah.
get your information and your opportunity in front of them whenever they're not necessarily looking for it.
Mhm.
So the way that we do that is very simple. We use social media. People are spending 2.5 hours a day, every day on social media. And so what we do is most everything we do is by advertising on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
And I mean, because the thing is, that's where people are spending their time. They're scrolling
Mhm.
through. So there's some things that you have to do, not just like, hey, we're hiring. Anybody can do that. But there's some
Mhm.
things that I'm going to share with you that you can do exactly what we do in order to be able to get the right type of person saying, hey, I'm interested in this.
Uh-huh. Okay, let's just stop and do a takeaway. So, takeaway is the people that you want to hire aren't actively looking for a job, and you need to get in front of those folks. And the best way to do it is through social media ads because unfortunately, people are spending an average of 2.5 hours a day there.
Exactly. And the thing is that people are like, well, I want entry level people. That's great. I want to hire for attitude and attitude.
Yeah.
Perfect. Even if they're not in your industry and they have a great attitude and aptitude, they're
Mhm.
working somewhere. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that they don't necessarily know that there's an opportunity to come work in your company. But not only that, it's not just a job. The other
Mhm.
thing is you always have to position it as nobody wants to go to work at a job, but everybody's looking for a career, something that they can grow with, something that they can grow into. And that's
Mhm.
a big deal whenever you're placing ads, is because it's not just, hey, we're hiring carpenters, or that's when we work with deck builders, they're hiring lead carpenters, or they're hiring, carpenters. And it's like, no, it's ready for a new career or ready for a career change. Come work for ABC Deck Builders, and then list
Mm.
all of the benefits that you have, the reason that they should come work for you, and
Yeah.
list your requirements at the end. So you
And
want
I do wanna stop again there because that is so, so, so important. I think that a lot of builders just kinda put a listing out, like, "Oh, you put it there and they'll come," but you're not being competitive enough. Like, you do have to use that marketing skill set in terms of, like, understanding your positioning in a way to make your listing stand out so that people want to work with you.
to, what I always tell people is like, look, you don't run an ad that says wanted homeowners with a 3 to 5,000 square foot house who pay their bills on time and have an excellent credit score and are interested in having a deck built in their backyard.
Yeah.
If that's you, we may come out and give you a quote. But
We
that's how
may.
people advertise for employees. Like, we're
Yeah.
looking for somebody with 3 years carpenter experience that's led a crew, that's done this, that's done that, that has, they can read a blueprint, blah, blah, and by the way, we'll pay you this much money and these are our benefits. No,
Mhm.
flip it over. Just like you advertise for customers, you want to advertise for employees by listing all of the reasons and all the benefits of why they should come work for you. Now, the other thing
Mhm.
is, because they're already working somewhere else, you have to really hone in on what is it about your company that's going to cause them to want to come work there. How can
Yep.
you list those benefits? And some of the things that I've been working with the deck builders and fence builders. We actually work with a big, large playground installation company where their whole job, their whole business is doing playgrounds. Is one of the things is that their team does not have to dig any post holes. They have somebody that goes out ahead of time and does it. Or the one company actually has, I think they're in Kansas. They actually don't dig any post holes. They drive the posts into the ground, and they have a machine that drives it into the ground. But they're all in there before they go out to build the deck or build the fence. I wouldn't
Mhm.
know because I'm not in that business. I've built a couple of decks in my life, but I use post hole diggers. And but anyway, so those are the things. The other things are, what is it about your benefits that have that? It could be that you work 4 10s instead of
Mhm.
working 5 8s, or no weekends, or do those types of things that help towards work life balance. As we know,
Mhm.
there is an aging workforce, and the thing about that aging workforce is that the new people coming in, the younger crowd, is just as interested, or are just as interested in work life balance as in pay and benefits. Pay and benefits is important, but work life
Yeah.
balance, they need to know that they're not going to be working 80 hours a week. That type
Mhm.
of thing. So you have to show that balance. Also, in the world of deck building and fence building, you have to look at, sometimes it's seasonal. If it's seasonal, what are you doing to help them through that season? Like, a lot of times in the north, there's a lot of snow. You're not doing a lot of work during the season, but what are you doing to help them bridge that gap? Some
Mhm.
companies, they do different things like snow removal, or I don't know if
Mhm.
it's those things, or if it is seasonal, what is it? How they're going to make enough money during the busy season that's going to carry them through the off season. So a lot of those things can go into helping them make a decision.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: nobody's going on Facebook or Instagram looking for a job. So
Yeah.
you have to stop them scrolling.
Yep.
They're looking at the latest brisket knife, or their neighbor's kid's soccer game, or here's a golf training aid, or the latest helmet for a dirt bike, or those kind of accessories. And
Mhm.
here is an ad for your deck building company to come to
Mhm.
work for you. You got to
Mhm.
get them to stop scrolling, look at it. So your branding is very important. The imagery, smiling employees doing work, is very important. And then, because they got to stop scrolling, look at it, click it, open it up to read all the great things, because all there is a headline above the image. Read all the great reasons, push the button, enter their information to then apply for the job. So you have
Mhm.
to be very convincing in the information you're putting there to get them to do that. The good news is, very few people are actually advertising for employment on Facebook. It is a special ad category, so you got to navigate that a little bit. But think about it: how many employment ads have you seen? Very few. So you already can stand out and be different than everybody else in your area.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I wanna share one thing because I just found it so interesting. I've spoke to a couple of deck builders that in terms of the seasonality thing, they have a second office in Florida, and they just go down to Florida or whatever, and look at this, I got
Right.
a did you
Thumbs
do
up.
that? I got a
Mm-mm.
thumbs up.
We love that.
But yeah, they'll take their team down to Florida for the winter
Yeah.
and do work down there. I thght that was really
Yeah, there's a
interesting.
lot of them that like there's like some that do Christmas lights or something. There's different things that
Yeah.
they can do to stay busy as
Mhm.
well. I'm not saying you have to have that, but if you do, that's definitely something to highlight because that's on people's mind.
Yeah. I mean, look, none of this is complicated. It just takes a little bit of strategic thought. I mean, your advice of just having a smiling employee in the photo is,
Yeah.
is big and so easy to do, but often overlooked.
Right. And
So
it doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, the camera on this thing is more powerful than what I used to use 10 years ago. And I used to charge
yeah.
people thousands of dollars to go out and do a photo shoot. And you can do it on an iPhone and take that and turn it into an ad graphic with a free service like Canva. Go in and throw some extra words on the screen on the picture and then utilize that as an ad. So yeah,
Hmm.
there's none of the things that I'm talking about are things that can't be done. There are
Yeah.
things that sometimes people want to have help with because it's not your main focus, but
Yeah.
anybody can do it.
Hmm.
Anybody can
Yeah.
do it.
Amazing. You guys, this is like amazing advice. Like just take it and go, guys. Um, so I do want to dive into a little bit more, if you can,
Mhm.
just how marketing plays a role. I mean, obviously you've already shared the social ads, but maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on, are you doing any type of like automated follow-ups to really like make the experience professional and informative?
Yeah, that's one some of the magic, the secret sauce of what we do is because nobody is ready to take the action, even though they put their information in and push the apply now button. They're just giving you their contact information on social media. You can't really ask for any more information than first name, last name, email, and phone number because if you do, they say you're discriminating. The reason I know that when we were doing trucking, we used to have to put in what zip code they were in because the trucking company didn't want them to be more than 30 miles from the I-95 corridor. I
Mm.
came in to 137 ad sets rejected because of discriminatory practices because we were asking for what zip code they lived in. So all
Whoa.
you can't so you can ask any questions, but your ads aren't going to run because all you can legitimately ask for is first name, last name, email, phone number.
Yeah.
You also can only target by geography. You can't target by age. You can't target by gender. You can't target by industry. I mean, if you're running an
Mhm.
ad on Facebook or Instagram for a customer, you can get granular. It's like homeowners
Yeah.
that are the top 5%
Mhm.
of income earners that
Drive a
live in this
Mercedes.
zip code. But if you do that with try to do that with targeting with employment, you get hit with discriminatory practices, and they not only reject your ads, they'll shut your ad account down. So
Yeah.
you have to do that. But in going in and setting it up, whenever they give you their first name, last name, email, and phone number, what we do is we pull them into an automated follow-up system because, like I said, no one's ready to take that big step right then. Because
Mhm.
who knows, they might have seen it when they're driving down the road or they're
Yeah.
sitting in a car and they see it, and they're not ready to fill out an application. So you
Yeah.
have to nurture them. You have to
Mhm.
we send them a text message and an email, and every couple of days, even a ringless voicemail, encouraging them to go fill out the application. And
Mhm.
then once they do the application, we filter a little bit more because what we do is we have them do an automated video interview. That way you can see what they look like, how they communicate, and if it's somebody you'd feel comfortable sending to your home to work on a deck.
Mhm.
And then we do some other things. But it only works because we continue to nurture them. We tell people that we do this with recruiting faster than humanly possible because the automations work instantly. And that's what continues to do that. We even do things. Here's a brighter downer for those of you at home watching. Here's the thing. We get down to about the fourth day, first of all, the first message you send them should have an image of the ad or your logo. So
Okay.
they have a visual and they know, okay, because the biggest complaint people have from social media is they say that people respond to who are you, why are you calling, why are you texting me? So when you send that out with the image of the logo, they don't forget and at least you
Mhm.
don't get those responses. Then every day, put emojis in all your ads and also in your text message follow up. We get down to about day 4, we pull out the stops and we send a picture of a pet. So April, do you have a dog or a cat or a goldfish or anything?
Ugh, yeah, I have an angel. Her name's Coda.
So, so we get a picture of Coda and we go, "Hey, April, this is our mascot, Coda. every time somebody completes an application, Coda gets a treat. So go ahead and complete the application today. Coda is counting on you.
Yeah.
It seems kind of corny, but it interrupts the pattern, and
Yeah.
we're looking for them to engage.
Hmm.
Right? So we do those kind of things all the way through the process, and that's the automations of the follow up. But even that, if you just 66% of people say they'd rather hear about the job interview or job through text messaging. So we use multi-channel, but if you only use one, use text
Yeah.
because nobody's answering the phone today when it's ringing from
Hmm.
an unrecognized number.
Hmm.
So we don't call. Emails, 5% of people interact with emails, but the most of them are interacting with text messaging. So that's the
Hmm.
biggest thing.
Yeah.
That's
Unreal.
probably a whole lot more information than you wanted, but anyway.
No, 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 no. That was amazing. I love it. Absolutely love it. Um, by the way, so Jody taught me a nice follow-up sequence that I used this week. It's the I apologize follow-up. So if somebody's become unresponsive, you reply with, hey, I apologize. I want to get some feedback. And I had somebody that I got a call booked from it because they just recognized that it was something different. And that's what the dog thing does. Like it might seem cheesy, but that type of stuff, if you leverage the power of automation, you just, again, like, I feel like our world is moving more to like all of us being pilots. I've said this before, where we just need thinkers to like think through the process. And then we have all the tools that make it really easy for us to do. So, all of the things that Jody is saying, it's just you set it and forget it, and it kind of works on its own, which is pretty amazing. And of course you're refining it, and we're always trying new things. And I think my biggest takeaway from some of the things that you mentioned is having to play nice with these platforms. Like, our world is Google primarily and Facebook, but have knowing these little tidbits of how you're supposed to play with them so
Yeah.
that you don't get banned and go in Facebook jail is so important, because you're going to lose a lot of time if you do it wrong.
Yeah. Another thing that's very important, one of the things that we've learned is that and it doesn't really happen that often probably in the decking world unless you have salespeople. But a
Mhm.
lot of times people are performance pay that's commission only. Well, you can't say commission only or commission based because they say that's unrealistic outcomes. But
Mhm.
they do like performance pay or pay for performance, even though that's commission, right? It's still they'll allow pay for performance. So that's some of the things that we've learned, from that standpoint of what they because they don't feel that anybody that's being paid commission only can make any money, because anything you have a commission only, it flags it as being like work from home or network marketing.
Mhm.
So that's how because they've got some really broad rules. The other thing is when they reject your ad, they just tell you the reason. They don't tell you what about the ad was the reason. Like when they say discriminatory practices,
Yeah.
we didn't know what it was. We had to figure out that it was we asked for the zip code.
Mhm.
Do testing until they approve the thing. So
Yep.
don't say commission, say performance pay.
Jeez. Unreal. Would you mind sharing some of any, like, perhaps any unique questions that you ask on the application to help better qualify candidates?
The main thing we do, and this is the biggest takeaway, it's not as much about what we do ask, it's more about what we don't ask. So on the application, we're asking for all their contact information, the last two employers. Can we contact the employers? Then we ask for their driving history. Do they had? We give them a list of the five bad driving where things that makes them, so if they're driving your vehicles that would make them uninsurable. Like do you have a careless driving or DUI or leaving the scene of an accident, those kind of things, or unlawful criminal speed. I guess over 25 miles an hour is considered criminal speed. Those make them
I'm
uninsurable.
a
Yeah,
criminal.
yeah, oh, me too. Believe me, it's I was young once. So, and then the other way I ask is if they've ever been convicted of a felony, because whether you do or don't allow it, you want to know.
Mhm.
And so some people will be truthful, sometimes they won't.
Yeah.
But then so we ask those things. Then what we do not ask for is a resume. And some people, it's strange because all of the job boards out there ask for a resume and they have
Mhm.
to create one. But how many great carpenters or great lead carpenters do you think or project managers out there have a resume laying around ready to upload?
Yeah.
It's very few. So
Especially if you're looking for somebody that already has a job, right?
And then the thing, or like I said, whether it's another thing is, I don't like people. We don't hire laborers. Nobody wakes up in the morning saying, "I want to go to work and be a laborer." You know, find something nicer to call like an apprentice or something like that. Even though it's not, it's just something like that. But the thing is that not asking for the resume gets us actually more qualified applicants than if we ask for it. And if you look at most home service company websites, when you go to their careers page and they have a little form to fill out to apply, 95+% of them have upload your resume.
Yeah.
So what we do is we say upload your resume if available.
Okay.
Here's the other part of that. They're filling it out on this. Okay. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know how to attach a resume to a
Yeah.
form, and I'm in this industry. I don't know how
Yeah.
to do it. What are the chances that they know how to do that? So you want to make it so that it's as easy as possible for them to apply and very easy for them to apply, and also make sure that your application is mobile friendly because that's what
Yeah.
they're going to be doing it on.
Bam. I there's certain things that I think we still do in 2024 that I question, and one is the resume. I mean, I just get a LinkedIn profile, right? I mean,
Well, but most of them are not going to be on LinkedIn. That's I
mhm,
have calls be like, we've tried Indeed, we've tried running ads on LinkedIn, and Indeed they're not qualified, and all the people on LinkedIn are overqualified. And I'm like, right, because technicians are not spending time on LinkedIn. They're on
mhm,
social media. Your
yeah,
CFOs, your salespeople, they're on LinkedIn. But most of your quote unquote workforce is not on LinkedIn.
mhm,
It's more higher level people.
yeah, yeah. But I don't know. I wanna predict that maybe in the future, maybe not the near future, people will start leveraging these things a lot more, and even it doesn't even matter what their role is, because getting those recommendations and that type of social proof is still really good. But yeah, I can get that for today for sure.
Yeah.
So, what about, deck builders? Can you share any success stories that you've
Yeah.
had doing recruitment for deck builders?
And so, like I said, we work with deck builders, work with playground installation, large playground installation companies. And the thing is that here's the thing: the one of the companies is in New Hampshire. The biggest issue that you have is not necessarily what is the company like; it's how big is the population where the company is. So this particular company only had about 30,000 people in the county they were in. So my team was like, this is never going to work.
Uh-huh.
It took a couple of months for things to ramp up, but they did wind up hiring a lead installer and a lead carpenter from the efforts, even though it was small because they found it on Facebook and they weren't on Indeed looking for it. And that's one of the successes. The playground company, they were hiring a whole plethora of people. They were hiring installers, they were hiring laborers, which we talked them into calling something other than laborers. They were hiring salespeople, they were hiring project managers. Most project managers will have a resume. Salespeople typically will have a resume.
Mhm.
But from that standpoint, it was tough, and we were struggling to see would it work, but it takes a little bit longer when you have a smaller population, but it will still work. That we don't now. Whenever I look at that, I explain to them, the people, when they have a lot smaller population, that it's going to take a lot longer. But that was successful. He hadn't hired a new person in 6 months,
Mhm.
applying on the job boards whenever we started working with him. And within 2 months, he had two key players, and that was a year ago, and they're still there.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's a return on investment. It takes so much time to recruit, especially if you don't have a secret formula like Jody does. And it gets exhausting, like you kind of can tend to just throw your arms up in the air and be like, oh, so that's amazing to hear. And I'm sure that saved them a lot of money too,
Yeah.
and frustration finding the right people. We use the EOS model. And so we say the right people in the right seat. And we're hiring now based off of culture first, because we can train on the expertise. But finding people that feel like family is, is the hardest part.
And that's one of the things we focus on when we're working with a company is we want to know what their company vision is, we want to know what their core values are, and their company
Mhm.
culture, because that helps us develop an avatar. Because going through the filtering process is much easier whenever you have those things in mind. whenever you have those
Mhm.
things, because that helps you attract the right kind of people and repel the wrong kind, usually.
Mhm. Yeah.
From that standpoint, your core values go a long way in doing that as well. So we always follow the EOS model in our company as well.
Mhm.
And from what I look at core values is they should be strong, so strong that if you are not embodying them, it's a fireable offense.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
most companies won't go that way, but we will.
Yep.
And our core values are such that whenever I'm interviewing someone, like to come to work for us, when I'm talking to a client and they ask us our core values, and I tell them the first one, if they have an unusual reaction, I know they're probably not going to be a fit to work with us.
So what is it?
Gives a shit. That's our
Yeah.
number one core value, because if you don't, you
Mhm.
don't care about our clients, you don't care about your team, you got to give a
Mhm.
shit. Second one is lead without title. Everybody that works here is a
Yeah,
leader.
that's
Um,
good.
the third is give grace, be kind first always, because you don't know what someone else is going through, especially in the home service business. Sometimes owners call and they're frustrated because they got something happen, or they're you don't know what's going on in their world. So they're
Mhm.
not necessarily upset with you, they're just upset in general. So get to understand what's going on with them. And then finally, show up. You got to
Mhm.
show up for everybody. And those are
Yeah.
four very simple. It's only four, but they're very simple. And if you don't follow them, we
Mhm.
let somebody go last night who was not showing up. They were going in, they were just going through the motions, and we said,
Mhm.
we got it, we give you a chance, and we're just not going to move forward anymore
Mhm.
with your
Yeah, I mean, those core values are amazing because if you do build them right, and I mean, again, like this is simple stuff. What Jody just said, it's assumed, but like assume is a dirty, dirty word, right? You have to have it written out, and it makes it so that you can run things so that it's not subjective and based off of like, your perspective, but it's based off of core principles that you've laid out, and they should know, and your team should know those core values at any
They
point.
should be able to repeat them. Go
Yeah.
ask your team members if they can say your core values. If they can't,
Yeah.
then just like everybody in our company knows our vision and what our mission is.
Mhm.
Finding great people to help build great companies. Pretty simple,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
We
Mhm.
don't do lead gen. We don't do anything else. Everything we're doing is finding great people to build great companies.
Yep.
Makes it very simple, very easy to know. If somebody asks them a question about doing marketing, they're like, no, we don't do that. Right.
Mhm.
So because to begin with, they were like, oh, because we have that background, we can do
Yeah.
everything. We do one
Yep.
thing. We do one
Yep.
thing very well. We're an inch wide and a mile deep whenever
Mhm.
it comes to that. So,
Laser
and
focus.
one of the things I know you were going to talk about is like, how do you keep these A players once you get them?
Yeah.
And part of that has to do with how you bring them in, how you're advertising for them to begin with, how you're positioning what you're going to do. And then those core values are what should make them stay. Because
Mhm.
if they're living up to the core values and you are as well,
Mhm.
then they will stay for the long term, because they see that the work-life balance they have and the things that you're saying you're going to do live up to that.
Mhm.
Because people will stay at a job making less money than go to work for a company that has a bad reputation or a bad culture.
Mhm. For sure.
And they will turn down a job making 25% more if a company has a bad review, has a bad reputation or a bad culture.
Mhm. Yeah. So, I mean, folks, take some time to really figure out what your values are, what your vision is, what makes you different, what benefits that you have that you might just assume people know or expect. Just take the time to write all of it down, and get pictures of your employees smiling.
Yeah.
And guys, I want to say definitely get more pictures of your team. I mean, we build websites for deck builders all the time, and I'm like, look, you're a local based business. People buy from people, and they want to trust you. They want to know who is in their community that they're going to spend thousands of dollars with. So have a picture of you, even if it's with your family, or definitely take pictures of your crew and stuff like that and be authentic. I think that's a really good word to
Yeah,
use for all of this.
absolutely.
Um, so I'm curious about social media just in general, like apart from the ads themselves, do you have any tips? Like, do you utilize or recommend that your clients utilize social media to reinforce any of these values and things that we've been talking about?
Well, of course, the one thing that a lot of people don't realize, and this is one of it's very easy to do, is that they think that, oh, I've got 1,000 people that like my page. That they most of the time only 3% of the people actually see the content. So don't think that you're going to be
Yeah.
able to boost a post for a job, because you can't even do that anymore because
Mhm.
Facebook took that away. They used to be able to use to post a job and boost it. You can't do that
Mhm.
anymore. You have to do it as a Facebook ad. But
Mhm.
do things like change out your cover image when you're hiring. So if you change out your cover image, it shows up in the news feed of everyone who likes the page.
Ooh, yeah.
The post only shows up for the about 3% of the people that like the page. A
Mhm.
change like that, or if you are hiring, one of the things is post an event, post it as an event, even though if it's not a date and time kind of event, post it, that we're hiring as an event, and that will also show up in the news feed of the people who like the page. There's very
Mhm.
few things that do, but those are two of the main things that will get people's attention because one other tip that I did not say is whenever you create an ad, no matter what it's for, always make sure the ad is shareable. Because, like one of our largest clients is A1 Garage Doors, Honey Melody, said some of his best people never saw the ad. Their spouse saw it and said, "Hey, honey, you need to take a look at this." And they shared the ad with them. So always make sure that it's shareable, but change that cover image out. That we're hiring or
Mhm.
looking for great people to build our great company. Set
Mhm.
it as an event on Facebook. All of those things can help with that exposure.
And how for somebody that doesn't know, I mean, how do you set it up so that it's shareable?
It's in the settings of the lead form. It's a little bit, it's just that there's two tabs. There's the one tab where you fill everything out and it's kind of hidden. There's a second tab on the lead form that you click, and there's a couple of things. One of them is make shareable, and you just check the box. But
Okay.
that's on the lead form. The way you make it shareable on a post is it asks you if you want to make it shareable.
Yeah. Okay. Pretty simple, guys. Don't forget that. These are like these are checklist items in our tasks and ClickUp.
Yep.
Um, so what do you could you share any kind of big mistakes that you've seen people make in their recruitment process? I mean, I feel like you've shared a ton, but
Yeah.
maybe there's a juicy little nugget or story you could share.
Yeah. The biggest thing is that we see is people not honoring, or here's the big mistake, not letting their current employees know that they're going to be running ads for positions
Mhm.
and then inflating how much money the people can make at the company and their employees seeing it and go, what the heck? I don't make this much money. You're hiring people saying they're going to start at $25 an hour and I make $22 an hour. That and giving a sign on bonus. It's fine to do, but you have to explain to your existing employees why it's important that you're paying a sign-on bonus and they're not getting a bonus if they already work there. So
Mhm.
understanding how to do those. And I tell them like, well, can we limit it so our existing employees can't see it? No,
Mhm.
you can't target and you can't limit it. You got to show it to everyone in a geographic area. So
Mhm.
there's those things. So make sure that your employees know that you're going to be running the ads because they're going to see it. And you got to
Yeah.
make sure that they know. We had one that's like, he held up things like on the papers, like I can't really talk about the pay or the position because the person's sitting next to me. And so instead of calling it a project manager or office manager, they called it a salesperson. And it's like, and we're like, we said, we probably need to, I said, we're probably going to need to reconvene on this. Because the other thing is, I'm not going to do that. We're not going to
Yeah.
do a call where the person's sitting there, but they're going to talk to us on Zoom and not. And it's like, we probably need to talk about this whenever you have more time or whatever. We ended the call because
Yeah.
I'm not going to do something that's going to undermine someone. You got to be honest with people that you work with.
Yeah. I mean, business 101. Just be
So,
honest in
I
general.
learned that in kindergarten, the golden rule, treat people as you want to be treated.
We all need reminders sometimes, huh?
Exactly.
Um, so where do you see the hiring landscape going, or
Yeah,
changing, in the next few years?
I see it getting more and more competitive. So were you in Miami the last? Yeah, you were
Mhm.
there.
Yep.
Number guy.
Yep.
Whenever it was kind of eye opening, it said that most people, most for the way the economy is going, not to be a doomsday sayer because I hate that. I'll talk about any economy, but it's like it's not the market share is not going to grow. The people the number of clients is not going to grow, but the only way to grow your market share is going to be to take it from other people. So what I see is there's going to be, it's not poaching because you're just putting an ad on a platform and someone's
Mhm.
seeing it, but more and more because the workforce is aging out and there's a younger workforce, you're going to have to be in a position that not only to attract people from other companies that have experience, but what I'm seeing the trend going more and more to is developing a training program so that you can bring people in, hire for attitude and aptitude, and train them
Mhm.
in your way. You're going to
Yeah.
have to invest more in training because there's not going to be the experienced people out there. I get on calls like, yeah, I want a plumber, or I want a carpenter with 10 years experience that can do this, 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 and this. And I was like, okay, so basically you're looking for a unicorn, and I'm sorry, but we are fresh out of magic wands. So so we're going to have to look at what is it that you're going to be able to really utilize, and who is it that's going to actually be able to come work for your company. So training programs are going to be the way that, because even some of the larger companies that are having success that are taking people away from other companies is they're bringing them in and training them in the best way to go about doing it, going about doing the things, and that way they're doing things your way.
Mhm.
If you're a smaller company, you're going to have to still come up with ways to invest in new employees that are coming in order to get them to the point that they're going to be able to produce the product that you're selling.
Mhm.
That doesn't matter if it's decks or plumbing or widgets or cabinets, that you're in a cabinet shop, it's going to be the same thing.
Mhm. And I just want to add to that, guys, if you're wearing a ton of hats, you got to figure out where your time is best utilized. And in my opinion, you probably started your business because you knew how to build amazing decks, right? So you probably know how to train people the best, but you might be too busy to sit down to do it because you're still doing too many other things. So delegate those things off of your plate so that you could spend more time on what I call your brilliance tasks that are really going to help move your business forward. You have to invest into, documenting your processes and getting good training, systems and programs in place. We have personally we have a new team member onboarding process that we constantly refine every time we bring somebody else on, and we get their feedback and we improve it, and we're always adding new things. And so we take that very seriously because, I mean, especially as, a service-based business, like your people are everything. I mean, they're 90% of what you're offering is, their skill set and, whether or not they, what is it in EOS? Do they get it? Do they want it? And
And do it.
what's the
Get it when it can do
do
it.
they have the capacity? Yep.
Exactly.
So simple. Well, I am so interested to learn more about Rapid Hire Pro and kind of, what you guys, I mean, obviously you've shared all your tips, but if anybody wanted to just be like, hey, Jody knows what he's doing, he's helped a million people, like what can they do? What do they need to know about working with you?
The easiest thing is we're pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You just go to rapidhirepro.com. There's a blue button in the upper right hand corner. Actually, a blue button just about anywhere you go on the site to schedule a call. And we don't do sales calls. What we do is we do discovery and recommendations, because we need to know a little bit about your company, know a little bit about the positions you're looking to hire for. And then what we do is we kind of walk you through and show you graphically exactly all the things I'm just talking about. And we record the call and we send you a link to the recording. And if you want to know what it would look like for us to help you do it, we can send you a proposal along with that. But that maybe you walk away with images of exactly what the ads look like and exactly what we would do in recruiting for your business if it was our business. And having worked with over 300 companies across the US and Canada, we have a couple of ideas on how that should work.
I'd say so. Wow. So it's almost like you're giving away a playbook for free. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But like I said, we go through everything and we send you a link to the recording. And what I
Mhm.
tell everybody is I'm going to record the call. I'm going to share some things with you that you'll be able to take and utilize yourself, even if we're not a fit.
Mhm. I
Because we're
love
not a
it.
fit for everybody, but we
Yeah.
want to make sure we add value for everyone.
Mhm. Very cool. Well, any final thoughts to leave with our audience? I mean, I gotta say, before I open it up, anybody that is listening to this, please ping me and let me know what your takeaways were. Because I just feel like you dropped so many knowledge bombs here. I really hope that somebody listens to this and they're fast to implement and they immediately take some of these ideas and move forward with it so that they can see a direct impact on their business. Otherwise, give you a ring and take advantage of that, free playbook essentially, which is pretty cool. But yeah, any last words of wisdom?
The main thing is Don't be overwhelmed. If you're going to run the ad yourself, just understand there's a special ad category of employment. You have to set it to basically use a lead form to gather the information and only ask. It'll allow you to ask other questions, but hold back. You can only really ask for first name, last name, email, and phone number,
Mhm.
and then move it into communications. Because you want people like, we can do it in Messenger, but then you can only talk to them while they're still on Facebook. We want to move them off of there and start communicating with them on their phone so that we can
Mhm.
communicate with them anytime we want to. And you want to do the same thing.
Yeah, and build that relationship from the first touch point. That's good.
And please,
Um,
please, please, please use a local number.
yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Is people use an 800 number.
Yeah.
People don't want to respond. They think it's just the sales promotion. A local number, people respond better to.
Anyway, really good stuff. Make sure that again you ping me with any knowledge bombs that you got from this because this was so amazing. Seriously, take advantage of a consultation with Jody and his team. And yeah, until next time, make sure that you keep moving forward. And then for today, I want to say, I want to leave you with build smart, hire smarter. So thanks again, Jody, for coming. And we look forward to your feedback.
Hey, deck building community. Enjoyed the show? Hit subscribe and give us your thoughts. We love hearing from you. Ready to level up your business? Visit deckbuildermarketers.com. Check out our services and let's build your success together. Don't forget to download our free guides. They're a game changer. Thanks for tuning in to We Love Deck Builders and see you on the next episode.